My wife told me we should take a break during her Miami girls trip. Meanwhile, she was booking couples massages and researching my life insurance policy. So I let her go, changed the locks, and emailed her the divorce papers when she landed. Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. All right, Reddit, here goes nothing. So me and my wife Lisa got married 2 years ago. I'm 32, work in finance, pulling decent money, analyzing investment portfolios for rich assholes who don't know a stock from a bond. She's 29, doing HR stuff at some mid-sized company where she spends most of her day telling people they can't expense their Starbucks habit. Pretty standard suburban setup. Nice house in one of those neighborhoods where everyone's lawn looks exactly the same. 2 cars, both of us making good cash. I spend weekends hiking because I actually enjoy nature and not staring at screens 24/7. She likes shopping and bottomless mimosa brunches with her basic girlfriends, the kind who take 47 photos of their eggs Benedict before posting the candid one where they're spontaneously laughing. Never had any real problems until about 3 months ago, when things got weird as hell. Our biggest fights before this were about me leaving hiking boots by the front door, or her buying another throw pillow for the couch we already can't sit on because of all the other decorative bullshit. But then she comes bouncing through the front door one day like she just won the lottery. Babe, I'm going to Miami for Amanda's bachelorette party. Now, normally I wouldn't give two shits about this. Girls' trips happen, whatever. Amanda's been engaged for like 3 years and finally pulled the trigger on actually planning a wedding. But something about how Lisa said it was different. Like she didn't just get invited to a party, she got told the winning numbers for next week's Powerball. Way too excited for what should have been, oh cool, Amanda's getting married, guess I'll spend a weekend dealing with drunk bridesmaids. I'm sitting there eating cereal, thinking about how much this trip is going to cost us, when I notice she's practically vibrating with excitement. This is the same woman who complains about going to her own family reunions because it's so much work to be social. Now she's acting like she just got invited to party with celebrities. That's cool, babe. When is it? 3 weeks. I need to go shopping for outfits and get my hair done and maybe get a spray tan. The mental shopping list starts immediately. I can already see dollar signs flying out of our joint account. But whatever. Marriage is about compromise. And if this trip makes her happy, celebrating Amanda finally locking it down with that human spreadsheet she's been dating since college, then fine. But within a week, our front porch looks like Amazon's distribution center. Packages showing up daily with designer dresses I'd never seen her wear. Nordstrom boxes and stuff from brands I couldn't even pronounce. The kind of stuff that costs more than my car payment and definitely isn't for impressing Amanda's drunk bridesmaids. I'm looking at our credit card statement online, doing my usual monthly budget check, and I'm seeing charges for shit that doesn't make sense for a girls' trip. Like, since when does Lisa need a $400 dress for a bachelorette party? She usually shops at Target and complains when jeans cost more than 50 bucks. So I asked her, what's this charge for $180 at some jewelry store? Oh, just some earrings for the trip. I want to look nice. $180 earrings? For a bachelorette party? It's a special occasion. Don't be cheap. That stung a little. I'm not cheap, I'm practical. There's a difference between being financially responsible and being a tightwad. I set my laptop down and looked right at her. Then don't use our card. You want to treat yourself? Fine. But from this point forward, it comes out of your account, not mine. You don't get to throw around cheap when you're spending money that isn't just yours. She tried to brush it off with that usual smirk, but I wasn't in the mood for cute. I mean, didn't marry into a finance leak disguised as celebration prep. But I didn't push it further either. Figured she would get it. But then she starts changing passwords on everything. Phone, laptop, our shared Netflix account, even the grocery store app. When I ask about it, she's like, oh, I just want better security, but suddenly won't tell me the new passwords to anything. This is the same woman who used password 123 for everything and had me set up all her accounts because she hates dealing with technology. The woman who still needs help connecting to Wi-Fi at hotels. Now she's suddenly a cybersecurity expert who needs to lock down access to our Hulu account. I'm lying in bed one night, listening to her typing away on her laptop, and I realize she's been staying up way later than usual. Used to be she'd fall asleep watching Netflix by 10 p.m. Now she's up until midnight or later, always on her phone or computer, always angled away from me so I can't see the screen. When I roll over and try to see what she's doing, she immediately closes the laptop or turns the phone face down. Just work stuff. she says. But her company doesn't exactly require overtime research into whatever the hell she's researching. But here's where it gets really messed up. She starts talking about my life insurance policy like it's her new favorite hobby. Babe, you really should increase your coverage. I worry about you going hiking alone. Hold up. This catches me completely off guard because Lisa has literally never given a single shit about my weekend hikes. Not once in the 3 years we've been together has she expressed any concern about me being on trails by myself. She usually acts annoyed that I'm wasting weekends in the dirt instead of going to brunch or shopping with her. Her usual response to my hiking plans was, have fun, try not to get poison ivy again, or bring back some good pictures for Instagram. Now, suddenly she's concerned about my safety? Since when do you worry about my hiking? I asked. I was actually pretty confused about her actions since that trip thing. Well, we're married now. Things are different. I just want us to be protected financially if something happens. The timing felt messed up. Why is she suddenly pushing for a $500,000 policy right before disappearing to Miami for a week? My logical brain kept telling me I was being paranoid, but my gut was screaming that something wasn't right. I'm running numbers in my head. We've got maybe $75,000 in the current policy through my work, which would cover funeral expenses and keep Lisa afloat for a year or two if something happened. But $500,000? That's quit your job and live comfortably for the rest of your life money. Every single conversation about insurance happened while she was glued to her phone texting someone. She'd bring up dangerous mountain trails whenever she saw my hiking boots by the door. Started mentioning news stories about hiking accidents she'd heard about, always with this weird look on her face like she was studying my reaction to see if I was buying it. Did you hear about that guy who fell off that cliff in Colorado? So scary. You should really stick to easier trails. Then immediately go back to texting whoever the hell she was constantly messaging. I started paying attention to when these insurance conversations happened, always when she was mid-text conversation with someone else. Like she was getting coached through talking points. I'm getting paranoid thoughts like, who the hell is she texting that would be interested in our life insurance situation? Why does this mysterious person care about my hiking safety? She'd be scrolling through her phone, see something, then look up at me with this calculating expression. You know, maybe you should get one of those GPS beacons for hiking. You know, in case something happens and I need to find you. The way she paused before find you made my skin crawl, like she was thinking of a different word. I felt completely insane even thinking what I was thinking. Like who suspects their own wife of planning something that dark? That's some psycho thriller movie shit that happens to other people, not suburban finance guys whose biggest life drama is usually deciding between IPA or lager. But every conversation about insurance felt like a sales pitch. She downloaded pamphlets, researched different companies, even suggested specific agents we should talk to. This from a woman who makes me handle all our financial decisions because insurance is boring. I kept thinking about how she used to joke about life insurance being a scam. Why would I pay money betting on your death? That's morbid. Now she's practically writing policy proposals. So 2 weeks before her Miami trip, I'm sitting in my home office pretending to work on quarterly projections while actually having an existential crisis. She was still running around finalizing outfits and spa appointments, clueless that I'd already started connecting the dots. I felt like a paranoid lunatic for even entertaining these thoughts. But you know what? Better paranoid and breathing than trusting and 6 feet under. So I decided to do some digging. Started with our shared credit card statements, since she'd been spending money like she just inherited a fortune. And yeah, these were still hitting our shared card, after I explicitly told her not to. So now I wasn't just suspicious, I was pissed. Most of it looked normal at first. Those designer dresses, spa appointments, the usual expensive girl stuff that makes my bank account cry. But I'm good with numbers, it's literally my job, and patterns stick out to me. The spending had a timeline that didn't make sense. She books the Miami trip, then immediately starts buying stuff for it. Normal. But then there's a second wave of purchases that don't fit the girls' trip narrative at all. Then I see something that makes my blood freeze solid. She booked a couple's massage at some fancy resort spa in Miami for 2 people on her girls-only bachelorette trip. I'm staring at my computer screen like it's written in a foreign language. There's no way this is a mistake. It's specifically booked for 2 people, male and female, at a time when she's supposed to be drinking Cosmos with Amanda and the girls. What the actual hell? I kept scrolling through statements and found more charges I'd somehow missed before. Men's clothing store, $340. Some jewelry place, $180. Restaurant reservations for 2 people at places that definitely aren't group bachelorette spots. High-end steakhouses and romantic wine bars, not the trashy clubs you'd expect for Amanda's last hurrah. My hands were literally shaking as I screenshot everything. This isn't just cheating. She was building an entire relationship with someone while I'm sitting at home like a complete moron, thinking she's just really excited about her friend's wedding. The restaurant reservations really got to me. I recognized some of these places from when I researched Miami for a potential vacation we never took. Expensive, intimate spots where you need reservations weeks in advance. The kind of places you take someone you're serious about, not random hookups. She'd been planning this for months. Then I remembered something from last month that seemed innocent at the time. She left her laptop open on the kitchen counter, and I glanced at her browser history while grabbing coffee. Back then, I thought she was just being supportive of my hiking hobby, since all the searches were outdoor related. Now those searches looked completely freaking different. Remote hiking trails, Colorado, cell phone dead zones, mountains, hiking accident statistics, 2023. Solo hiker disappearances. How common are hiking accidents? Isolated trails with no witnesses. Survival time mountain accidents. Search and rescue response times. Jesus Christ. Was she literally researching how to make me disappear permanently? My brain immediately starts making connections I don't want to make. She's pushing for bigger life insurance. She's researching isolated hiking spots. She's planning a secret romantic getaway with another man. And she's Googling accident statistics and survival times. I'm sitting in my office, sweating through my shirt, trying to convince myself this is all coincidence. But I work with data for a living. I know what patterns look like, and this pattern is screaming danger. Still, I kept telling myself maybe I was overthinking. Maybe I'd been watching too many crime documentaries lately. The IG algorithm fed me one twisted husband murder story and suddenly I'm spiraling? Come on, this is Lisa, my wife, the woman who cries during those Sarah McLachlan dog commercials. The same person who made me promise to text her when I got to the trailhead and when I got back to my car. Who insists I carry a first aid kit because you never know what could happen? She loved me. I gave her everything. Stability, a good life, no drama, no secrets. So how could I seriously believe she was planning something this dark? Then again, why were her search terms reading like a blueprint for my funeral? Except now those texts seemed less like caring and more like tracking my exact location and timeline. The first aid kit thing really started bothering me. She'd bought it for me 6 months ago, made a big deal about how I needed to be prepared for emergencies. But now I'm wondering, prepared for what kind of emergencies? The kind she was researching online? I spent the last weeks quietly gathering evidence while acting completely normal around her. Downloaded 3 months of credit card statements. Screenshot her browser history before she could clear it. Started paying real attention to her phone calls and how quickly she'd hang up when I walked into the room. The more I dug, the more screwed up it got. She was smart about it. At least she thought she was. She'd cleared her browser history, but I wasn't checking the obvious spots. I pulled up system logs and browser data recovery tools, the kind of stuff most people don't even know exists unless they've worked IT or dated someone paranoid enough to install a keystroke logger. That's when it all came flooding back. Cache fragments, autofill suggestions, partial URLs stored in the browser's internal files, enough to piece together what she'd been looking at. Insurance payout timelines, accident investigation procedures, even how to act devastated at a funeral. I actually sat back in my chair for that one. Who Googles that unless they're preparing for a performance? Other gems from her search history. Do insurance companies investigate all accidental deaths? How long before life insurance pays out? Suspicious versus non-suspicious accident patterns. Acting grief-stricken tips. Widow support groups near me. How to grieve properly in public. Bereavement leave from work policies. What to wear to husband's funeral. She was already planning her widow era and sending me to God, while I'm obliviously packing trail mix for weekend hikes. Planning what to wear to my funeral, like it was another social event she needed the right outfit for. The absolute worst was finding young widow success stories and rebuilding life after tragedy. She was researching how other women had moved on after losing their husbands, probably looking for inspiration or cover stories. I'm looking at months of search history that reads like a manual for eliminating your spouse and getting away with it, and the timeline perfectly matches her sudden interest in my life insurance and hiking safety. Then the day finally came. Lisa left for Miami with her suitcase, beach hat, and a see you Sunday like everything was normal. I gave her a casual nod, watched her Uber pull out of the driveway, and locked the door behind her like I was sealing off a crime scene. And I'll be real, part of me was scared. Not of her exactly, but of how far down the rabbit hole this thing might go. I'd been sleeping beside someone who might have been planning my funeral. I needed her gone so I could think clearly without the act, without the fake kisses and fake love yous while she's Googling how to stage grief. I needed the silence to breathe, to figure out what the hell I was actually dealing with. So while Lisa's off in Miami supposedly celebrating Amanda's last days of freedom, I'm home going full scorched earth on our entire life together. If I'm wrong about this, I'll look like the biggest paranoid asshole on the planet. If I'm right, I'll still have a pulse next month. The decision to protect myself legally felt surreal. I'm driving to the attorney's office thinking about how this morning I was married to someone I trusted completely, and now I'm treating her like a hostile enemy. But the evidence doesn't lie, and I'd rather be wrong and embarrassed than right and dead. First stop, attorney's office. I transferred every single asset we own into an irrevocable trust with my sister Rachel as trustee. House, cars, investments, my 401k, even my baseball card collection from when I was a kid that's somehow worth like $8,000 now. If something happens to me, Lisa gets exactly nothing. Sitting in that lawyer's office explaining why I need to hide assets from my wife felt like the most surreal conversation of my life. The attorney, this sharp woman, I'll call her Janet, just listened to everything without judging. Mr. Thompson, in 30 years of family law, I've seen wives hide assets, cheat, lie about paternity, but this is unusual. You need to document everything and be prepared for this to get complicated fast. Rachel calls me that afternoon after the lawyer contacts her about the trust paperwork. What the hell is going on? Why are you putting everything in a trust all of a sudden? She asked. I'm pacing around my kitchen, Bruno, my dog, watching me like he knows something's wrong. I can't really explain right now. Just, something's not right with Lisa. Not right how? Are you guys getting divorced? Maybe. I don't know yet. Look, I need you to just sign the papers and trust me on this one. This is insane. You're talking about your wife here. What could possibly be so bad that you're hiding assets from her? Rachel kept asking. I wanted to tell her everything, but it sounded so messed up that I knew she'd think I'd lost my mind. Your sister calling you crazy is one thing. Your sister thinking you're having a paranoid breakdown and maybe calling Lisa to stage an intervention is another. Rachel's always liked Lisa, thought she was good for me because she settled me down from my bachelor days. If I told her I think Lisa is planning to eliminate me for insurance money, she'd probably suggest couples therapy and a mental health evaluation. Rachel, I promise I'll explain everything later. Right now, I just need you to have my back without asking questions. Long pause. I can hear her kids screaming in the background. Normal family chaos. The kind of life I thought Lisa and I were building toward. This better not be about some midlife crisis nonsense. It's not. I swear it's not. She signed the papers, but I could tell she thought I was losing it. Can't blame her, really. From the outside, it looked like I was having some kind of mental breakdown over nothing. I called a locksmith, had every lock in the house changed, while she was busy posting Instagram stories of beaches, cocktails, and fake laughs. She had no clue I was turning our home into a fortress. Then came the security system. Full setup. Motion detectors, door sensors, cameras covering every angle. The technician walked me through the app, showed me how to monitor everything in real time. Every ping, every movement, straight to my phone. Felt less like installing a system and more like laying perimeter defenses. After that, I found the most cutthroat divorce attorney in town and put her on retainer. Janet. Sharp, brutal, and allergic to bullshit. We kicked off the paperwork to dissolve the marriage. 2 years down the drain, sure. But I'd rather be single and breathing than married and memorialized. Janet laid out the legal strategy while I sat there still not quite believing this was my life. We'll file for dissolution based on irreconcilable differences, but we're also going to request emergency asset protection based on suspected fraud. The insurance angle gives us grounds to freeze everything. And by the way, Lisa's texting behavior during her trip was interesting as hell. On the first day, she gave constant updates with pictures of the beach, the hotel, her, and the girls. Group shots where everyone looked appropriately drunk and happy. Amanda in her bride-to-be sash, the whole cliché bachelorette setup. Day 2. Radio silence for 12 hours. Then one generic photo of a sunset with no people in it. No explanation for the communication gap, no group shots, just a sunset that could have been taken anywhere. Day 3 onwards. I'm getting one-word responses to my messages, while she's clearly active on social media posting stories. The ghosting and disconnect was obvious. She'd respond to my, "How's the trip?" with good, but simultaneously post detailed stories about drinks and restaurants. The Instagram posts were wild too. Went from group shots with Amanda and the bridesmaids to solo pics that screamed, "Look how hot and available I am." Cocktails on the beach, designer outfits, that fake candid laughing pose that says, "I'm living my best life without my boring husband." I started screenshotting everything before it could disappear. The timestamp showed she was posting solo content during times when she claimed to be with the group. Either she was lying to me about her activities, or she was lying to Instagram about being alone. At that point, I was running on fumes, barely sleeping, mind spinning every night, second guessing everything from the moment we said, I do. It was like playing chess against someone who didn't know the rules, but still managed to cheat. I wasn't even angry anymore, just numb, tired, like I was stuck in some slow motion car crash and couldn't hit the brakes fast enough. Then my buddy Tyler sends me a screenshot that confirms everything. It's from Lisa's close friend's Instagram story, a video of her grinding on some random dude at a club with the caption, finally free. Finally free. From what exactly? Oh, right, from her boring husband, who she's planning to collect insurance money from. Tyler's message, dude, isn't Lisa supposed to be at a bachelorette party? This looks pretty coupley to me. The guy she's with is tall, tan, looks like he stepped out of a Miami nightclub catalog. Gold chain, designer shirt, the whole douche uniform. Definitely not one of Amanda's bridesmaids, LOL. I screenshot everything before it could disappear, building a digital paper trail of her deception. The contrast between what she was telling me and what she was actually doing was damning. That night I couldn't sleep, just kept staring at the ceiling thinking about how close I came to actually increasing that life insurance policy. She'd brought it up at least 6 times, always mentioning how dangerous my hiking was getting and how she'd be financially devastated if something happened to me. The word choice was interesting in hindsight. Not emotionally devastated or heartbroken, financially devastated. Like losing me would be a budget problem, not a personal tragedy. How many solo hikes would it have taken before I had an accident on some remote trail? How long would she have waited before calling the police, crying about her missing husband who never came home from his weekend hike? The messed up part is I still felt guilty for not trusting her. Even with all the evidence sitting right in front of me, part of my brain kept saying, you're overreacting. She loves you. This is all just coincidence. Society programs you to trust your spouse unconditionally, to give them every benefit of the doubt. When someone you love is acting sketchy, your brain tries to rationalize it away instead of accepting the obvious truth. But coincidences don't Google how long before insurance pays out on accidental death while booking romantic getaways with other men. Anyways, Sunday night, Lisa's plane lands at 8:47 p.m. I know because I checked the flight status about 50 times that day. I'm nervous as hell, but also excited to see how this plays out. Part of me is still hoping I'm wrong about everything, that there's some innocent explanation for all the evidence I've gathered. Bruno keeps pacing around the house like he can sense something big is about to happen. That dog has always been a good judge of character, never warmed up to Lisa the way he does with people he trusts. My phone starts buzzing at 9:15. Hey babe, I'm at baggage claim. Where are you? I'm sitting in my living room with a glass of coffee and divorce papers spread across the coffee table. The irony isn't lost on me. She's expecting a ride home from her secret romantic getaway, and instead she's getting served with dissolution papers. I'm not coming, I said. Long pause. I can hear airport noise in the background, the sound of her world about to get flipped upside down. What do you mean you're not coming? How am I supposed to get home? You're not coming home. Check your email. The satisfaction of saying those words was incredible. All the stress and paranoia of the past few weeks crystallizing into this one moment of truth. I hang up before she can respond. The divorce papers hit her inbox at exactly 9:18 p.m., along with a detailed explanation of why our marriage is over. Attached were screenshots of her credit card charges, browser history, and my personal favorite, a timeline of her insurance conversations compared to her Miami planning. Subject line, enjoyed Miami? Here's your souvenir. The email was methodical, laying out everything like a prosecutor's closing argument. Dates, times, evidence, conclusions. I'd spent hours writing it, making sure every accusation was backed up with documentation. She calls back immediately. I decline. She calls again. Decline. On the third try, I pick up just to hear her lose her absolute mind. What the hell is this? You can't just lock me out of my own house? Her voice is shaking, but I can't tell if it's from anger or panic. Probably both. It's not your house anymore. Everything's in the trust now. This is illegal. I have rights. Yeah, so do I. Like the right to not end up as a statistic for insurance money, I said. The screaming starts. How dare I accuse her of something so crazy, how I'm being paranoid, how she never did anything wrong. You're insane. I would never hurt you. I love you. Love me? You Googled how to look devastated at a funeral while booking couples massages with some other dude. That's not love, sweetheart. That's premeditation. At that moment, I could practically hear her brain scrambling for an explanation that doesn't exist. I can explain everything. Save it for your lawyer. I hang up again and turn my phone on silent. Let her scream into the void. 20 minutes later, my new security system alerts me that someone's at the front door. I check the camera feed and there's Lisa with her suitcases and some dude I've never seen before. Miami boy toy, I'm guessing. She actually brought him back with her to our house. The audacity of this woman. He's exactly what I expected, probably wondering if this is the house he was going to help her cash in on. They spend about 10 minutes pounding on the door and ringing the doorbell. Lisa's yelling through the windows about how she lives here and I can't keep her out. She's trying to peer through curtains, checking if any windows are unlocked. The desperation is obvious even through the security camera. Open this door right now. This is my house too. Babe, maybe we should just go to a hotel for tonight, he said. No, he can't do this. I have rights. The guy keeps looking around like he's sizing up the property value, probably doing mental calculations about potential insurance payouts, or maybe just realizing he picked the wrong married woman to mess with. I don't answer. I'm sitting in my kitchen watching the whole show on my phone like it's a reality TV episode. Bruno's at the window growling at them, which just makes Lisa more hysterical. I know you're in there. You can't hide forever. Actually, I can. It's my house now, and I've got security cameras recording everything for future legal proceedings. They eventually gave up and left. My Ring camera catches them arguing in the driveway before driving off in his rental car. She's gesticulating wildly, probably explaining how I went crazy and locked her out for no reason. He looks like he's reconsidering whatever arrangement they had. Honestly, best $200 I ever spent on a locksmith. Over the next few weeks, shit gets real interesting real fast. Janet files for emergency asset protection based on suspected fraud. The insurance company gets wind of the situation and launches their own investigation. Turns out they take attempted fraud pretty seriously, especially when there's this much evidence. The insurance investigator contacts me for an interview. I lay out everything: the browser history, the timing, the Miami receipts, all of it. She takes notes like she's seen this playbook before. She explained to me that Lisa's search pattern follows a classic insurance fraud preparation model. Research the target activity, find vulnerabilities, establish plausible scenarios, research investigation procedures, practice emotional responses. She told me that the how to look devastated at a funeral search is actually more common than you'd think. Amateur fraudsters always worry about their acting ability during the investigation phase. What really gets me is how methodical Lisa was about it. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment decision. She'd been planning this for months, maybe longer. Every conversation about my hiking, every suggestion about insurance, every concern about my safety was calculated. The investigator showed me similar cases she's worked. Spouses who plan this type of fraud usually follow the same pattern. They research the intended method, establish plausible scenarios, then work on their emotional cover story. Your wife hit every checkpoint. Meanwhile, Lisa's blowing up everyone's phones trying to control the narrative. She's telling friends and family that I snapped and became paranoid and abusive for no reason. Classic gaslighting. Her mom calls me crying, asking why I'm destroying her daughter's life. I answered calmly, Mrs. Peterson, your daughter Googled isolated hiking trails with no witnesses while trying to get me to increase my life insurance. Draw your own conclusions. That shut her up real quick. Hard to argue with browser history. Lisa kept swinging. Showed up at my office unannounced, demanding to talk. Security walked her right back out. Then she tried calling my boss, rambling about how I was mentally unstable and shouldn't be handling client portfolios, like that was going to work on someone who's known me longer than she has. Then came the cherry on top. She filed a police report saying I stole her stuff. You know, the stuff I had carefully packed up and sent to her mom's place with a full inventory. Tidy, respectful, nothing dramatic. That one made me laugh. I don't know exactly how that conversation went down, but based on the fact that no one ever followed up with me, I'm guessing it didn't go the way she hoped. Pretty sure the cops know the difference between theft and you got locked out after getting caught planning your husband's exit strategy. By then, even the people who'd been in her corner were going quiet. Once the screenshots and search history started making the rounds, the whole poor Lisa narrative didn't hit the same. 2 months later, we're sitting in family court for the divorce proceedings. Lisa shows up with some public defender-looking guy who clearly doesn't specialize in family law and probably took the case for grocery money. I've got Janet, who's been salivating over this case since I first told her the story. The courtroom feels surreal. 6 months ago, I was planning our future together, maybe talking about kids, definitely talking about upgrading to a bigger house. Now we're sitting on opposite sides of a courtroom, while lawyers argue about whether she tried to eliminate me for money. Discovery phase was absolutely brutal for Lisa. My lawyer subpoenaed everything: phone records, browser history, credit card statements, even her search history from her work computer. Turns out she'd been using company time to research my potential demise, which got her fired when HR found out. Her employer's IT department had been monitoring employee internet usage and flagged her searches as concerning personal research conducted on company time. When they saw what she was researching, they immediately terminated her and provided everything to our legal team. Her attorney tries some bullshit story about how she was researching for a crime novel she wanted to write. The judge gave him a bombastic side-eye. Counselor, your client also Googled isolation hiking spots Colorado and cell phone dead zones, while simultaneously trying to convince her husband to increase his life insurance policy. Unless her novel required very specific market research, I'm not buying it. The crime novel excuse was laughable. Lisa hasn't read a book in years, let alone written one. She gets her entertainment from reality TV and Instagram stories. Then we get to the financial evidence: the couple's massage booking in Miami, the men's clothing purchases, restaurant reservations for two at romantic spots. Her attorney tries to claim she was planning to surprise me with a romantic trip later, but can't explain why she needed to buy another man clothes for our surprise getaway. Janet stood up and dropped the timeline. Charges, dates, search history, everything lined up in brutal order. From the first mention of life insurance to booking couples massages and Googling how to fake grief, it was all right there. No drama, no speculation, just evidence. The room went quiet. The pattern was obvious. It didn't need explanation. The judge barely looked up before making it official. Divorce granted. Everything stays locked in the trust. Lisa walks out with nothing. No assets, no alimony, no shot at a second chance. Just a blank expression and a folder full of evidence she couldn't spin. Before walking out, she turned to me and hissed something under her breath. A mix of threats, insults, and denial. I didn't flinch. Let her say whatever made her feel powerful on the way down. The court didn't buy her story, and neither did I. 2 years of marriage unraveled in a handful of minutes, and somehow I didn't feel rage or victory. I felt drained. Like I just pulled myself out of a burning car and was standing on the side of the road, watching it explode behind me. But at least I am single and free, and alive. That's more than she planned for me. Anyway, I'll post an update if anything new happens with Lisa, assuming I'm still alive to write it. Final update. Hey folks, figured I'd give you an update on how things unraveled after that mess. So 3 months after that brutal divorce, Lisa showed up at my job. Hair messy, eyes bloodshot, practically dragging herself through the lobby like she hadn't slept in weeks. Told the front desk she needed to see me urgently. Security called up. I met her downstairs, just curious about what she wants. She stood there, voice trembling, and said she was pregnant, that it was mine. I was 2 seconds away from laughing in her face, but I kept it together. Just pulled out a business card and handed it over. Congrats. Let me know what the paternity test says. Derek, that's the Miami guy, right? Might want to start saving. 2 weeks later, the results came back. Obviously, not mine. Big surprise. Derek left her with more than just a cheap Miami fling and a criminal record. Now she's working overnight security at some warehouse, barely scraping by in a shoebox apartment with a baby on the way and no legal defense worth the paper it's printed on. She's broke, blacklisted, and can't get insurance coverage to save her life literally. Meanwhile, her appeals keep getting laughed out of court. Her reputation? Gone. Her support system? Disappeared. All those basic brunch girls who hyped her up? Nowhere to be found. Me? Paid off house. Bruno at my side, got promoted. Still single, absolutely not ready to mingle. People still ask if I think Lisa would have actually gone through with it. She didn't just plan my funeral, she rehearsed it. I dodged a bullet. Literally. And all it cost me was 2 years and a ring on the wrong finger. Stay alert out there, guys. Sometimes the person sleeping next to you is Googling accidental demise payouts at 2 a.m. while planning your funeral outfit.